Welcome back to the Band Guide. I'm your band guy, Colin, and this is another video in the 5-minute GarageBand Expert series where I'm bringing you 30 tips and tricks for mixing and recording in GarageBand in 30 days. Now, today I want to share with you my absolute favorite tip for mixing bass guitar. This tip is all about helping you add presence to the bass guitar. It's essentially giving you a presence knob, a presence fader, so you can just dial up or dial down how much presence you're getting from the bass guitar in your mix. The best part is it's super easy to do. So let's go ahead and dive into this example and hear how it's currently sounding.
It's like they're calling your name on the way back home. You never get over it. Oh.
It's sounding all right. I'm definitely just at the start of this mix, but I already can tell that I want a little more presence from that bass. That bass is nice and driving, and we're missing that driving nature in this song. So we want to do something to help it just stand out in the mix a little bit more. We're going to do this through parallel processing. So parallel processing just means that we're adding a second version of the same track, and we're processing this version differently. So we're going to start by duplicating our bass track. And just dragging this down. So we hit Command D to duplicate it, and then we just held Option and drag that down. So now we have a totally identical track here. We're going to name this one Bass Grit. Now, the goal with this track is just to get more of those upper frequencies from this track to really cut through in the mix. So we're going to start by just cutting out anything except those frequencies on this track. Okay, so we went from this full range signal to just upper frequencies. So this is really that picking sound from that bass guitar. Now, the second thing we want to do, we could have just done that on the EQ on the main track. What we want to do now is distort just those frequencies. And we want to distort them because when you distort things, you add more harmonic content. More harmonic content just means that those frequencies will take up a little bit more space in the mix, which will help them cut through in the mix a little bit better. So we're just going to go down to our distortion here. And don't be timid here. Add some distortion to this track. So that's nice and distorted. That's really distorted. Now, we were going to use this tone knob here to find the right frequency range for this distortion to really cut through in this mix. So now that we've set the distortion on this track, we want to find exactly where it's going to cut through this mix best. So we're just going to scan and sweep this along while we're listening to it in the context of the mix.
It's like they're calling your name on the way back home. You never get over it. Oh.
Okay, so right around there, I'm really getting the right tone out of this distortion to cut through. Now, this is obviously really gross sounding. It's not good sounding in and of itself, but it doesn't matter how it sounds in and of itself, it's how it sounds in the context of the mix. So we're gonna mix it up into the track and notice how it just starts to add some presence and energy to that bass part.
It's like they're calling your name on the way back home. You never get over it. Oh. It's like they're calling your name on the way back home. You never get over.
Okay, so you can kind of hear it now. It's just enough where you're perceiving it. But notice when I mute it, how you just immediately lose the bass in this song.
It's like they're calling your name on the way back home. You never get over it. Oh. It's like they're calling your name on the way back home. You never get over it. Oh.
It's crazy, right? It's just presence to the bass guitar. It helps that guitar cut through, sound more professional, but it's simple and it's easy and it's not drastically changing the tone of the bass guitar, which we liked when we recorded this track. Now, if you want to get a professional mix in GarageBand, be sure to grab my 6-step checklist to a pro mix in GarageBand. I'll link to it in the description below. It just gives you goals for every step of mixing to make sure that you're hitting every objective. If this video is helpful for you, be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you tomorrow with another video.